Obi versus Tinubu, suspend as court reserves judgment. Of course, it's remaining 2 months for the presidential election petition tribunal to give final judgment. I have three news in one news. I'm going to unleash to you what is more expected or what is expected. In other news, we have Nigerian military readies battalion for possible invasion of Niger Republic. So they are arranging militaries to invade Niger Republic. I said it in my other news that the fear that we're all waiting for, that we've all been thinking about, that the Nigerian government are now recruiting battalions for possible invasion of Niger Republic. A very, very bad order. In another news, we have doctor dies in elevator crash at Lagos Hospital. A medical doctor, the ASO, has lost her life in a tragic elevator. So let's begin from the first news, which is Obi versus Tinubu. Suspends as court reserves judgment. Of course, it's remaining 2 months for court to pass their judgment and finally give us who truly won the election. Is it to vindicate Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or to chase him out of the seat, or to disqualify him and put the necessary man, or are we expecting a return? It is less than 2 months to expiration of the period for hearing and determination of election petition. Parties in a petition by Mr. Peter Obi and the Labour Party challenging the declaration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the winner of the February 25th presidential election on Tuesday adopted their final written address. Obi and his party, in their joint petition, won the presidential election petition court sitting in Abuja to annul Tinubu's election on the grounds of substantial non-compliance with the provisions of the Constitution, the Electoral Act, and guidelines for the conduct of electoral election by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). Lead counsel to INEC, Abubakar Mahmood, SAN, while adopting the final written address on behalf of his client, submitted that Obi and LP's petition should be dismissed for lacking in merit. He told the court that the petitioners failed to show that there was electronic collation of results in any election in the country, adding that what was in the place of electronic collation was the annual collation system. On the technical glitch, Mahmood said the petitioners failed to prove the allegation that the glitch was caused by human interference, and that their claim failed since they cannot establish the allegation. How can you say that they failed to prove that the glitch was caused by human interference when an Amazon lady came and said that there was no glitch from the system, that it was done by human, even though they cannot trace who did it, but they know that it was a human being that decided to cause the glitch and off the IREV. Of course, they still do not have any case to make. He said the glitch that occurred, which affected transmission for about 4 hours, does not affect the election results, and urged the court to dismiss the petition for lacking in merit. Tinubu, through his lead counsel, Chief Wole Alenipekun, SAN, said, from the result declared, Tinubu scored 1/4 of the 2/3 of votes cast in the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) Abuja, and added that there is no nexus between the petition, the reliefs, and the parties, and urged the court to dismiss the petition for being a jurisprudential fiction. Counsel to APC Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, while adopting the party's final written address, said even if the court ordered a rerun of the presidential election, Obi is not qualified to participate, as it is a horse race between a winner of an election and the person who came second in the election. Funny indeed. Fagbemi said that the FCT does not enjoy any special status as far as the presidential election is concerned, explaining that the candidate does not need to score 25% of the votes cast in FCT for him to be declared winner of the presidential election. Dr. Liviu Zokwe, SAN, lead counsel to Obi and his party, told the court that the respondents have labored in vain to degrade and dismiss the importance of IREV in an election, adding that the Supreme Court held in the case of Oyetola and INEC that IREV is part of an electoral process. He said an election in which 18,000 088 blood results are uploaded to INEC portal is a very poor election, and that is it is not in doubt that Tinubu forfeited the sum of $460,000 being proceeds of narcotics trafficking. After all the parties adopted their final written address, Justice Haruna Samani, leading other justices of the court, reserved judgment to a date that will be communicated to parties in the petition. So, 2 months from now, before the end of 2 months, we should be expecting the final judgment for a know-how, and the journey is becoming very interesting. Now we have the Nigerian military who have been recruiting battalions to go and fight the Niger Republic. I warned this thing, and I warned it just yesterday, and I said that this is a very bad idea for the military to invade Niger, knowing fully well that this is one Africa. The West will only cause problem between the African countries, and they will go and celebrate in their countries. They have gathered a document that showed that the head of military operation in Niger, the head of military operation in Nigeria Defense Headquarters, has issued direct orders to all military formation to nominate battalions for a potential invasion of the Niger Republic. A covert military signal received by parallel fact indicates instruction to battalions commanders of the Nigerian Army, Navy and Air Force to launch an operation against the military junta in Niger almost immediately. Now we have a problem with our country where we have Boko Haram, ISWAP, the Fulani herdsmen. People are dying every day. We have the unknown gunmen killing the southeasterners and all that. Then what the Nigerian military are more interested is to go and fight the Niger military. Nigerian military say they strong go. Say this giant of Africa, they really enter their head. This giant of Africa thing, it's really possessing their brain. They think they are really strong. We saw how was it Chad military came into Nigeria territory to neutralize some Boko Haram who invaded their territory. We saw the way they handled them without. See, Nigerians should remove their hand in Western war against Nigeria. If they are not supporting them, they should immediately remove their hand. The move comes amid warning from the military juntas in Burkina Faso, Mali and Guinea, threatening resistance and possible declaration of war against any interference in Niger. As the situation upholds, concerns arise over the impact on Nigerian reputation and foreign policy, with some expressing worry about potential risks associated with the decision. Let them think. I'm moving over to the next news. Doctor dies in an elevator crash, and this is something that is very disheartening. A medical doctor also lost her life in a tragic elevator accident at the General Hospital in Odan, Lagos Island on Tuesday. According to witness, Daosa was in the elevator when it fell from the 10th floor to the ground, causing her severe injuries. She was trapped inside the elevator for over an hour before rescuers could get her out. She was then rushed to the emergency ward where she died due to lack of blood for transfusion. My God. Whatever you do, pray that Nigeria does not happen to you. This is one prayer point you should make every morning. Pray that somebody had a crash from the elevator in a general hospital, possibly owned by the government. And in other news, they were blamed for corruption. One of the outside colleagues who wished to remain anonymous directed the horrific incident to our correspondent. They said they were waiting to use the elevator when they heard a loud crash and saw glass and bricks falling from the shaft. They said they did not know that also was inside the elevator until another colleague recognized her voice. They also accused the hospital management of negligence and corruption, saying that the elevator had been faulty since 2018 and nothing was done to fix it. They claimed that the hospital authorities were trying to cover up the incident and coerce them to lie about what happened. This is Nigeria for you. The outsider's death has sparked outrage and grief among her fellow doctors who have taken to social media to express their condolence and demand justice. Many of them said they had complained about the elevator several times, but their pleas were ignored. They said the Assad's death could have been prevented if the hospital had maintained its facility properly. Elevator no dey fall. Elevator no dey fall. Just pray that Nigeria does not happen to you. We pray that the good Lord will see and grant her soul rest in peace, because Nigeria, in fact, if you die for Nigeria, you need to just dey go heaven straight. They no even need to judge you, because the problem we wake up to every day, the bad news we wake up to every day is really traumatizing. And for our mental health, we need to just make heaven straight. Thank you for supporting the Future News. Peace.